Hi, Josh Zaring, Zaring Studios. Today I'm going to show you how I clean my cameras, lenses, and basically all my camera components with makeup brushes and a rocket blower. The rocket blower is very important, but what I use first is two different sizes of makeup brush. A very small one that you have to be careful with because of the metal edge that holds it together, and a very loose big one. And they both have like really fine hairs. The only thing I don't recommend doing is using a used makeup brush because it has all that makeup and blush and whatever else goes in it. You want a brand new, fresh, clean one. So I like to keep them in a bag just to keep them dry and dust free. A big makeup brush, pretty wide, and a small one to get into little nooks and crannies. So I'm going to start with the camera here. I just like to go over the small one, just go over everything that I can't get with the rocket blower. Just get those little pieces unstuck. And then you can just go over it with the big brush. Sometimes it just looks like it's spreading dirt around, but it's just getting those pieces loose that won't just readily blow loose. And then I use a rocket blower to just get the rest of it. And in most cases, it's good. It's kind of weird with this camera angle. It's good to just blow up. That way the dust falls down. And that's that. And with the lenses, I like to start with the lens cap. So just get that loosened up. Maybe get in there a little bit. There's little spots there. There's a little where it moves. And then while I blow this out, I go like this. And that's that. And this lens is actually pretty dirty, so you can see it. If you can see that, it's not really coming off. So then take a big brush, and just kind of work that out of there. And I take the little brush, those little ridges in the matte finish inside the lens here to keep the sun from, it's flat black, matte black. Those little ridges are real hard to get out of there, so you just use one of these little brushes. And one thing I'd like to point out is this little metal, just like a paintbrush, that little metal edge there, make sure you don't touch your lens with that because it probably will scratch the lens. So if you're going to directly touch the lens or you just flat out don't trust yourself, use the big fat one and just get it the best you can. And then use the rocket blower. And then I use the microfiber rag to just get any little bit of like oil drops or anything like that. Pollen is a big issue, I noticed. And pollen is a real tough cookie to get off. Sometimes you use a little bit of glass cleaner. That's way too much. But use a little bit of glass cleaner and that'll dissolve pollen or pretty much just about anything that you get on that glass, and it's nice and clean again. And ordinarily don't have to do the back as often. Well, that one's tight because it's not exposed to the elements as often. If you're very safe when you change your lenses out, safe meaning when you change your lens out, you're like this, pointed down, so you don't get too much dust in your mirror box here. You don't want dust or anything to get in there. You gotta be real quick and careful and not change your lenses in a dusty environment in the first place. But that's that for that lens. And it's pretty much the same deal all around. Just get it loose and make sure these brushes stay clean. What I like to do is, you can wash them, obviously, they're makeup brushes, but I like to go like that when I'm done using them. Just kind of flick that dust out of there before I put it back in the bag. And if you do wash them, make sure they're dry. Let them dry for at least 24 hours before you put them in a plastic bag, because then you're just trapping in the moisture, and then you go and do something like, put it on there, and you might not have the best results. And here's another one. The lens hood also has the ridges in it that I'm talking about, and this can be real buggers, and once they get dust on them, inevitably the wind picks up and blows it directly into your lens. So you want to keep those clean, and the big brush is really, really good for that. And again, it doesn't really matter where you get them or what size. Obviously, the actual hair is better than the nylon, but it's not going to scratch your lens anyway. It's just the hair kind of is softer and picks up, the real fine hair picks up the dust a lot easier than like a cheap nylon brush. And again, you just kind of go back and forth and get those little bits that won't come out, and then use your blower to get the rest. So rocket blower is one of those things where it's one of your best investments for keeping your stuff clean. And then it's good to have a couple brushes to get all the gunk out of there before you blow it, because this doesn't get everything. And I highly recommend getting the largest one you can get, because there's actually a lot of air coming out of there, and it's the safe air. And make sure you get, I'm not saying to get the Giottos. I don't really know how to say this. You don't have to get this brand, but at least with this brand, it's patented, and the air comes back in the bottom, comes out the top. It doesn't suck the dirt back in. It goes back in the bottom. So don't put that down and squeeze it on a bunch of dirt either, because then you're going to get a bunch of dirt inside it. It's just going to spew everything out all over the place. The rocket blower also doubles as a stress device for photographers, frustrated photographers. I hope you learned something today that you can take away, and if anything, I just hope you took that keeping your gear clean is very important, because it is very important. And just as important as keeping it clean is cleaning it safely. Please just don't use like household products on your cameras. You can damage the finish at the very least. You can mess up the mirror or the sensor. So please don't go digging in there with this dusty brush. I don't even like to have my cap off. I was saying earlier about switching lenses, and this is one of those deals right here. Try to keep, especially if you're outside, if you have to change your lens outside, try to keep it upside down to lock it in. And if you can, hold it against your chest. I'm not a big fan of using straps. If it is, it's a black rapid, so it's nice and easy. But if you keep it against your chest like this to unlock it, have a place to sit your lens that you're taking off. Just sit that lightly on and put the other lens on while holding it like that. That keeps it less susceptible to dust and debris that is always flying around. And like I talked about pollen is a terrible thing to get on your sensor. I've had it on my sensor. It's hard to remove. It's sticky and it's gooey. So I highly recommend, if you have a local camera shop that cleans sensors, just do that. It costs a little bit of money, but you're not going to avoid your warranty. You're not going to scratch your sensor. Scratching your sensor, that's expensive. You might as well buy a new camera. If you have any safe methods of cleaning your camera, or even if you have a safe method of sensor cleaning, or your favorite way to clean your lenses, leave it in the comments, or any of the social media that I'm on. I'm looking forward to doing some more of these. Taking care of your gear is very important, especially as expensive as photographic gear is. You don't want to just like beat it around. Even if you do have loads of cash, you don't want to beat this around. This deserves respect and love. So for now, keep creating and keep it awesome. Join me on patreon.com to take part in special rewards like priority question and answer, Lightroom and Photoshop presets and actions, BTS videos and photos, previews for upcoming content, and even suggest ideas for tutorials. And also you have the option of being credited for your support of Zaring Studios, which is really cool. Check it out at patreon.com/Zaring.